So the presidential pardon continues. I talked about it on WABC Radio with Sid Rosenberg this morning. We've posted that on BillO'Reilly.com. You know my position because I stated it yesterday. I wrote a in detail message about how most of the Jan 6 protesters were brutalized by the Justice Department. That's true. They did commit crimes. That's true. Two things can be true at once. And I would have set up a review of 3-judge panel to look at the violent convictions against the cops. And then they would have written a recommendation to President Trump. I would not have pardoned them outright. And the reason is that the president should always do what's best for the country, right? And sometimes that's hard. A lot of times that's hard. But here, if we want the rule of law, we have to have protections for police. Have to. And, there's all kinds of stuff like, the people who attack the police have served enough time. That's not our job here. That's not it. But I think that 170 cases of alleged violence, convicted violence, need to be reviewed. I think that's fair. Anyway, there are a number of things going on, particularly in the pardon situation. So let's just review it so you understand it. So Article 5 of the Constitution gives the power to the people to overturn the Constitution. So a lot of people say, we don't want this presidential pardon anymore. Don't want it because it's been abused. And it has to some extent throughout history, not just now. But the founding fathers put it in there for a reason. I'll explain in a moment. But if you want to boot it out, there are a couple of ways you do it. 2/3 majority in both the House and the Senate. So they'd have to vote on it. 2/3 have to say, yeah, we want it out. And then it goes back to the states, and the state legislatures, 3/4 of them, 38 out of 50, have to approve what the federal Congress has approved. That's a very heavy lift, obviously, in a polarized country, so it's not going to happen. Presidential pardon is going to stay there. And then you get into, what about a president pardoning himself? Because Joe Biden's still in trouble. President Biden's still in trouble. He didn't pardon himself, pardoned his family, but not himself. Well, the constitutionality of that is vague. There is no precise wording. Here's what it says. Quote, the president shall have the power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. Against the United States, not him. Okay? So there are people who believe that president can pardon himself. President Trump said, I don't understand why Biden didn't pardon himself. That's not in there. It has to go to the Supreme Court. If that ever happened, would have to rule. Now, Donald Trump's under some fire for the pardons of the violent people at the Capitol. And here's what he said last night about his pardons. Go.
It would be very, very cumbersome to go and look. You know how many people we're talking about? 1,500 people. Almost all of them should not have been, this should not have happened. And the other thing is this. Some of those people with the police, true, but they were very minor incidents, okay? They get built up by a couple of fake guys that are on CNN all the time.
Okay, I'm not going to dispute that. But in the case of violence, again, I think it needs to be reviewed by a panel of federal judges. I think that's the fair way to do it, but it's not going to happen. It's already done. The presidential pardon has been issued. It's not going to be rescinded. You cannot challenge it. That is that. President Trump's victory is a win for America. That's what most voters think. But Bidenomics has left us with a failing economy. I rely on American Hartford Gold to protect my savings with physical gold and silver, and you should consider that. American Hartford Gold has thousands of 5-star ratings and an A+ from the Better Business Bureau. A tax-advantage gold IRA can shield you from worsening inflation. You can even roll over your 401k or IRA tax-free and penalty-free. So act now before it's too late. Call or text American Hartford Gold. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you for up to $15,000 of free silver on qualifying orders. Call 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. That's 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.